We're going to do it. We're going to do it. I won't have a lot of time, but it is what it is. So this is it today. Today is the day. Today's the day, just in case something happens. Okay, so welcome. Just want to talk about more about Abacus and noticing that this is this counting tool. This is a counting tool that's very similar to this die. But if you notice, this is a counting tool. So when we do 1, 2, 3, 4, it's very similar to a die because we know that this is 4. Hello, welcome. And so what is this doing? What we're doing is we're just counting on the abacus because we need to understand how to count the abacus before we can add, subtract, multiply, divide. That's it. Add, subtract, multiply, and divide. So why are we learning this? This is just kind of something interesting, and I thought it was really cool for the kids to learn. Some of the parents, some of the adults were like, this is the coolest thing next to sliced bread. And I'm like, I know. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to understand how to count the abacus. Now, why are we learning to count? Just because it's kind of fun. So if you notice that there is a beads, these bottom beads are touching this horizontal bar. This horizontal bar is what tells me what's being counted. So when I look, I know that this is being counted. So I have 4 being counted. None of these are touching. So welcome everybody, welcome. What we're doing is we're talking about the abacus, and if you notice, we don't have a 5. Wait a minute, how come there's no 5? Well, if you notice, here's the 4, and then the top bead will always be 5. The top bead is always 5. So is the top bead always 5, then we can do 6, 7, 8, and then 9. So now I have 9 on this one column. This column has 9. None of these columns have anything. These are zeros. So when you look, this is 9 and these are zeros. But now we're looking at it, we're looking at the ones, the tens, the hundreds, the thousands, and the 10,000s. Because the next question I have is, where's the 10? Welcome. So where's the 10? If this is 9, we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Where's 10? Well, just as I said, this was the ones, the tens, the hundreds, the thousands. This would be 10. Anybody have any questions? We're just looking at the abacus right now. So we're learning to read the abacus. So if you notice, this is how I write. If I write 10, I have my tens and my ones. So then I have my tens and my ones. So this is what 10 would look like. So we have 10, we have 11, 12, 13, 14, and then 15. So all the top beads will always have a value of 5. Just as this is 5 and then this is 5, but this is not 5. This is 60. And then we have 5 and then 5 and then 5. So how do I know that this is 60? Because it's a 0 and a 6. So if I move my beads like this is actually 65. So 65, right? 75, how do I know? Because it's a 70, 7, and a 0. I'm sorry, 7 and a 5. And then 85 and then 95. But notice all the columns will always have a number of 9. No matter what, they'll always get 9. So this is 9, this is 9, this is 9, this is 9. Easy to use, simple to use, easy to understand. Simple to use, easy to understand. Easy? Makes sense? Everybody okay? That makes sense, right? Easy to use because it's simple to it's simple to move the beads up and down. The only reason why we need to understand it is because the only difficult thing is understanding there's this horizontal bar. But wait, why do we have dots? These dots, if you could see, let me rearrange my camera. Oh my God, my camera. So here, there's these dots. These dots actually are labels. These labels tell me that this is going to be the ones place. So, oh, that's not that good. That's not that good. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Okay, here it is. So if you notice, I have a dot here and I have a dot here. You can choose any of these dots to be your ones place. Anybody have a question, let me know. And what we're going to do is we're going to continue on counting. So you could do this dot or this dot. It actually doesn't matter. Why? Because what we're doing is we're designating which is our ones place. So when we designate, this is the ones or this is the ones, I could do it here. So we do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9, and then 10. So notice from the ones to the tens, these are the same. It's the same thing over here. If I chose that this is my ones, I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, and then 6, hey, NCMS, 7, 8, and then 9. Care Bear. Is that Care Bear? So we have 10. 10 is over here. How do we know? Because this is my ones and this is my tens. Hello, hello. You know what? I have a hard 45 minutes. I have a class at 1:15, but then I'll be on again later. Just so everybody knows. So, and then so depending on how far we get, we can go in. We're talking about multiplication and division. So, um, or maybe that was a long time ago. There's so many. Okay, so we could do adding and subtracting. So what we're doing is we're still counting on the abacus because we are trying to figure out how to do. Hey, Seraphel, how are things? Welcome. I'm so happy you came back. Let me know if you have any questions. I know we're a little bit quiet, but let me know if you have any questions. We're just counting on the abacus right now. And I just want to let you know that I have a hard 40 minutes because I have a class at 1 o'clock. And so my student, actually, I can show you. I'm actually quite excited. So my new student, he just started. This will be my third lesson with him or fourth lesson. He is 7 years old. He's 7 years old. So he already knows how to count. And what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna do some not multiplication, some adding and subtracting. So we already did some adding. And then I was going to do some subtraction. So we're going to do is we're going to subtract the 1. And then, he figures out the answer, and then he's got to cut this out. And then I have it where we're doing subtracting the 3. So we're going to subtract a 3, and then this is how you subtract a 3. I did it this way so he can get used to seeing what the beads are. And then when he gets used to seeing what the beads are, then it will be, we can carry on to like higher numbers. But if you look, there's double digits, and it's kind of cool because then he sees, oh, this is, this is 13, take away 3. So what we're doing is we're taking away the 3 and taking away the 4. So I'm actually quite excited. I hope you, I'm really excited to share this with you guys. So this is going to be part of my new book that I was going to have, which was to talk about, to do this stuff. And then after we figure out all of the pictures and stuff, I was going to do all the pictures. After I figured out all the pictures, we were going to carry on into doing the actual numbers themselves. But let me know if anybody has any questions, but I'm just showing you what we're going to do for class today. This is follow the number. Again, he's got to subtract this number, and then he follows the path, whatever the path it is, and then he has to find the answer over here. So here is where he will write the answer, right? This is the answer. So this is 2, so he's going to write 2. This is 1, he's going to write 1. And then when he does the subtraction, he has to find the answer here. So I thought that was cool. This one is color by number. We are color by adding and subtracting. So what we're going to do is we're going to add and subtract. So we're going to add, and then he's going to color it in. Yeah, so he's going to add and he's going to color it and he's going to let me know. So we'll see about that. And then this is another one. This one is an acrobat person. It's the same thing, adding and subtracting, and we're only doing from 0 to 4. And then this one is subtract and match. When we do subtraction and matching, what we're going to do is we're going to take away the 1, right? So we know, where's my abacus? Right? When we do the 1, this is pretty simple. We do 1, right? We're going to take the 1 and then we're going to minus the 1. So all we got to do is minus the 1. So that's what we're going to do. And then from here, he's going to match the answer. So I thought that was kind of cool. So, I mean, is that your new book? Yeah, this is going to be my new book. So my new abacus book will be this. And then I was trying to figure out like how many pages. I think I was going to do, but this is for kids that already know their numbers. So what I was going to do is I was going to have them just start. The reason why I wanted to do the pictures so they get used to seeing the abacus. But yes, this is going to be the new book. And this is already going to be, I think this is already 10 pages. And we're just going to do it through. Yeah. So there's a little sneak peek, but then obviously I'm going to go through all the questions to make sure that they make sense. But then, yeah, here we're doing double digits, right? We're doing double digits because, by then they're like in grade 1. So my student is 7 years old, so he should know what 10 is and 11. So he was able to pick up that this is 10 and this is 12. So all we're doing is we're going to take away. So we have our abacus, we have 1 and 1, and then we take away 1. So again, if you notice, I'm taking away the 1 because I just want them to see what it looks like to take away the 1. But I needed more questions. So I hope you like it. Yeah. So that was the thing. This is my new book. And then there's going to be more instructions, right? And then it's going to be a full out book. But yeah. But I think that's the route I'm going to go with this one. This one is about, there's 7. So this would be probably first grade math. And then after first grade math, we'll go into, then I'll make another book for second grade, and it'll be a little bit quicker and faster. But yeah, and then we'll have the double digits and stuff. So, again, for those people that are coming in, hello, hello, hello. We are going to be talking about the abacus. 1, 2, 3, 4. I just wanted to share my little, my class. That was really cool. Okay, so this is 4, and then this is 5. Why? Because this bead, this top bead is touching the bar. So if the bead is touching the bar, the horizontal bar, then that means it is being counted. So when it's being counted, it's 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then we have 10. Do you guys have any questions? What sort of math questions do we want to talk about? Do we want to do more adding and subtracting? I mean, it seems like there's not a lot of people here, and there's not a lot of people that's asking questions. Let me know. Hey, Brandy, let me know if you guys want to like do some adding and subtraction. Do we want to review a little bit about the making of a 5 and making of a 10 or double digits of something? Let me know. Can you do negatives? You know what? I was talking to somebody about it, and you can do negatives if you only had 2 add-ins, right? So that was what I noticed. Like you could do it, but you would have to kind of finagle it. You would have to kind of remember your negative, right? So, oh my God. Okay. So if I had like, I don't know, we'll do something easy, right? We have 125 minus 382. Right? You could do it, but you have to keep the negative in your head, and you would have to do it backwards, right? And you would have to make sure and remember. So it's kind of, but not really, right? So then here I'm going to be, I do it the other way. I don't know. I wouldn't recommend it. So here is 382, and I take away 125. I take away 5 minus the 5 is minus the 10 plus the 5. So my answer is 257, but I would have to remember that there's a negative. Hey, old limey, welcome back. We're just talking about some negatives. Yeah, in CMS, I'm not sure if I would do negative. You're not supposed to. You could if you only had 2 add-ins, but then it gets crazy, right? Because in Abacus, we'll do like 25 minus 382 and then plus 497, right? Then when you do more add-ins, I'm like, okay, well, I don't know if I'm supposed to do adding or subtracting. So for me, I think doing it that way, doing negatives, it would get really complicated really quick. And that's the one thing. So just so that's my thoughts. You can try it, you can do it. If you can do it, then great. If you can't, then I wouldn't sweat it. Yeah. So, old limey, do you have any questions? Seraphil, do you have any questions? We can talk more about adding and subtracting, multiplication, division. But I do, just to let everybody know, I do have a hard 30 minutes. Because I have to get ready for class, and I'm excited for class and see if my student likes my new worksheets. And then, yeah. So there was another one. So I had like an open office hour to let people know. And what else? What about decimals? If you understand what I mean, yeah, we could do decimals. Decimals actually is perfectly fine, because decimals are easy, and it's just the word that's located, right? So let me do this one. So we have 73.94 and then 35.34 and 76.82. So we could do decimals. That's not a problem. Decimals are simple. So again, what I would do is I would line it up, and I do 73, and then remember my decimal sits between these 2 columns, so 94. For multiplication, how does it work? Okay, we will go to multiplication after the decimals. So we have, and then after that we have 35, so we add 30, right, plus the 10 minus the 7, and then plus the 5, and then plus 30 again, plus the 10 minus the 7, and then plus the 4, plus the 5 minus the 1. I'm going a little quick because I'm assuming that we remember our plus 5, how to make a 5 and how to make a 10. So then my final answer is 76.82. So 70, and then plus 6, plus the 10 minus the 4, and then plus 8, plus the 10 minus the 2, and then plus 2 again, plus the 10 minus 8. So my answer is 186.1. That's what it would be. 186.1. Do I need to do this? So it's the same. Yeah, exactly. It's the same. It just depends on what column you're at. That's all it is. So, and it's just, yeah, it's exactly the same. It just depends on what column it is. And it's the same thing with the multiplication and division. You could do it, but there's just decimals. That's all. So, Sarah Felt, I'm hoping I say your name correctly. Excuse me. So, in multiplication, Abacus, we actually don't memorize anything higher than 9 because we're really lazy. So here's an example. An easy example is 12 times 6. Now, what we need to do on the Abacus is we need to figure out how to... Okay, fantastic, Sarah Fell. Thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. So what we need to do is we need to figure out what our starting point is. The reason why is because in regular school math, we do it this way. And then what happens? And then what we do in school, we do the ones and then we do the tens, which is fine, but then it's kind of backwards. You'll see what I mean by backwards when we talk about this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out our place value. Our place value is where are we going to start our answer. So we count 1, 2, 3. So we're going to be on the third column. I'm going to clear my abacus. I'm going to do the third column. So that means I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. I'm at the hundreds. Now, we know because we've memorized 12 times 6 is not part of the hundreds. But when we work it out, there's patterns, right? So in the patterns, we do 1, 2, 3. We're at the hundreds. So now we're gonna multiply it out. So the question is 6 times 1 is equal to 6. 6 is a single digit. So what we do in this rule is we go back one column and we add the 6. So I'm actually here on the hundreds column, and what I do is I'm going to go back to the tens column and I add my 6. And then what? 6 times 2 is equal to 12. So I add 1 and then I add 2. So my answer is 72. And exactly what I did here is what we do in all parts. So we could do, and again, we can do it with the, like 14. We'll do 14 times 7. Right? 14 times 7. 17 times 4. We'll do that. So again, our starting point is at the hundreds. Well, how do I know? 1, 2, 3. So when I do the multiplication, I do this and then I do this. So 4 times 1 is equal to 4. Again, my 4 is a single digit. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4 is a single digit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back one column. I'm going to add my 4. There is 4 on my abacus. Now the next thing I'm going to do is 7 times 4. 7 times 4 is 28. So I add my 2 and I add my 8. Again, I add my 2. There's not enough beads to add the 2. What do? Same thing. Plus 5 minus 3, right? Because I want to add the 2. So this is where we have to remember our plus 5 formula, right? Plus 5 formula is plus the 5 minus the 3. And then don't forget to add my 8. So I add my 8 here. So my answer is 17 times 4. My answer is 68. Did that make sense? Answer is 68. Yeah. So that's a little bit about, that is a little bit about multiplication. I mean, we could do more. We could do more multiplication. And that would be part of my next book, multiplication. Because I was in the process of thinking how to outline abacus for adults. And that was the thing, was like, I'm still trying to formulate like what would be the outline. Yeah, it's easy, right? It makes it really easy. So like if we did it the mainstream way, we would do the ones first, but notice this is 12. So when we say 12, my finger is here. So that means I got to go back. You got to go forward to go back. So I have my 2 and I have my 12, my 1 and my 2. And then I have my 1 and my 6. But I ended up here, right? Because I added 1 and 2. Now I got to go here, 6 times 1. 6 times 1. But then I have to remember to go forward. It's a lot of back and forth if you do it that way. So I wouldn't recommend it because it will get really messy when you have more numbers. So a lot of it, a lot of it is it's written this way because when the numbers get bigger, it gets kind of crazy. So, I mean, it's possible. It's just, it would take a lot of like back and forth and stuff. So, we can do another one. So we could do like two times the two digits, right? So if we did 18 times that by 24, let's do that. 18 times 24, same thing, same exact thing. The process is the same. So what we're going to do is we're going to find our starting point. Find our starting point. Find our starting point. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Find our starting point. So our starting point is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means we're at the thousands column. So the first thing we're going to do, right, we're not going to do 4 times 1. We're going to do 2 times 1 and then 2 times 8. So you take it from the tens first. So when we do that, it's 2 times 1 is equal to 2. 2 is a single digit. I go back one column and I add my 2. Can you do division? Yes, I can do division. I can do division. Let me finish this and then we'll do division. So I'm going to have my 2. Now I have 2 times 8. 2 times 8 is 16. So I add my 1 and I add my 6. Right? Now I'm done. I am done with this 2. So what's next? I have to reassess my number. I have to reassess my number. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to start at my hundreds. Okay? And then after that, I do it like this. 4 times 1, 4 times 8. So I'm going to do 4 times 1 is equal to 4. 4 is a single digit. I go back one column, right? I go back one column and I add 4. Not enough. So what do? I plus the 10, take away the 6. I plus the 10, take away the 6. And then that's where I'm here. So then the next one I do 4 times 8. So 4 times 8 is 32. Is that right? 28. 28. Is that right? No, it's 32. It's 32. Sorry. 32. 32. Thank you. Thank you. I had a little brain fart. So 32. So I had the 3 and then the 2. Okay. And that's it. That's my answer. So 18. Is that right? 32. Yeah, that's right. So my answer is 432. Okay. It's a little hard to be presenting on new numbers. So 432. Okay, let me go find a division question. Division. This will be easy. Let's do this one. All right. Division. All right. We will do division. The first thing we're going to do is 8 divided by, 232 divided by 8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start labeling, just because then it's easier for me to see. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out our starting point again, right? To figure out a starting point, we have 3 digits here and 1 digit here. So it's 3 take away 1 is equal to 2. So our starting point is 2. Let me move that up a little bit. Our starting point is 2. So we go 1, 2. Now what we do is this is where I'm going to put my answer. Okay, I'm going to put my answer here. Because I put my answer here, I'm going to put my dividends, right? E and S. I'm going to put my dividends on the abacus so I can take it away. So my dividend is 2, 3, 2. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to compare. We have our dividend or we have our divisor. Our dividend is 2. Our divisor is 8. Oh, you can't see that. Our dividend is 2. Our divisor is 8. So now the question is who is bigger? Which number is bigger? Which number is bigger? The dividend or the divisor? It's either 8 or 2. Which one is bigger? Put it in the chat. 8. Thank you. So, when the divisor, Davadin. Oh yeah, when the divisor, not the dividend, the divisor is 8. The dividend is 2. The E, right? The dividend is 2. So the divisor is 8. So the divisor is bigger. When the divisor is bigger, we need 2 columns. We will look at 2 columns. So these are the 2 columns we're going to use. So the question now goes to 8 times what is equal to 23? 23 or less. That's the question. 8 times 3? No, that's 24. 8 times 2. Right, thank you. 8 times 2. 8 times 2 is equal to 16. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 2 in the answer. So I'm going to put 2 here. I'm going to move it up. 2 here. I'm going to take away 16. Take away 1. Take away 6. Take away 1. And now I take away 6. There's not enough beads to take away the 6. So what do? I need to minus the 10 plus the 4. So when I plus the 4, it's plus the 5 minus the 1. I still have dividends. So my question is what? Who is bigger? My dividend, which is 8, or my divisor is 8, or my dividend is 7. Who is bigger? Is my divisor bigger? Yeah, exactly. So my divisor is bigger. So again, I'm going to take 2 columns. Yes, my 8 is bigger. So I'm going to take my 2 columns. So the question is 8 times what is equal to 72? 72 or less. 8 times 9, right? 8 times 9 is 72. So I put my 9 here. My answer is 9. And I take away 70 and I take away 2. Correct. Thank you, Ray. Make sense? So, division on the abacus is actually quite easy. It's just understanding the formulas when you start taking away. That's another step. We kind of just blew through it because there was not a lot of people in the beginning. So if you want me to go back to the beginning, like how to add and subtract, I could do that too. But that's how you divide. So we can do another division or we can go back to plus and minus. Up to you guys. I have about 20 more minutes. I'm just doing a countdown. Right now it's just a bunch of these are just a bunch of questions that, just to answer and stuff. Yeah. Depending on depending on what the crowd is. What the crowd wants. I'd let the crowd. Okay, please. I jumped in the beginning. Can we do plus minus? Yes, of course. No problem. I actually jumped forward because when you were not here, it was already people that already been part of my lives before. So, yes, let's do some adding and subtracting. So the best thing to do is learn the fundamentals, master the basics. So, again, my name is Lynette. I'm an abacus teacher. I teach abacus to children. I can teach abacus to adults, and I'm in the process of making more workbooks, a lot about abacus. Now I'm going through this whole spiel. So it's been interesting because what we do is we talk about how we start adding more manipulatives, and it's interesting. We add more manipulatives to kindergarten and stuff, but we don't add in abacus, and I don't know why. Because it's the greatest thing next to sliced bread. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to understand really quickly. We're going to understand how we read the abacus. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. How do I know? Because we have the horizontal bar. I'm not sure if you were here for that, but I'm just going to do a little review, just a quick one. So then this is the horizontal bar, and there's the 4 beads touching the horizontal bar. When the 4 beads are touching the horizontal bar, we're being counted. So if you notice, we don't have 5. We have 5, and that's 5. The top bead will always be 5. I'm not being patronizing. I'm just emphasizing that the top bead will always be 5. Why? Because when we go in an abacus like this, the top bead, when it touches the horizontal bar, this is what's all being counted. So when I move it, These are the two abacus works the same. You know nothing. You will know. You will know. All right. And my camera is so bad. Sorry. Let me readjust to the camera cuz okay. So now why am I here and not in the middle or over the here? The reason why is because I have this dot. If you notice, this dot is a label. This label tells me where I want to put my ones place. So I have my ones, my tens, my hundreds, my thousands, and my 10,000s. So Abacus is really good at showing the place value. I don't feel patronized. I work with kindergarten, so teaching that way works for me. Right? I talk to the kids like this all the time. So, and I enjoy talking to the children because we can get really active. Like we can really act out a few things. And so, yeah, and so it kind of comes out like most of my teaching when I teach abacus is usually to children. And just recently, when I started going into TikTok, now I'm seeing more adults, and the adults are really interested in it, which is really cool. And if you teach kindergarten, you can teach your kindergarteners. So I don't know if you have the other abacus that's inside your classroom with 10 beads across. That's different because it doesn't talk about place values, right? But this abacus, the solar bond, talks about the place values. There's another one that does this one is a Chinese one. So this is the Chinese one. How do I know? Because it's 5 beads on the bottom and 2 beads on top. This one is a Japanese one because just like as Japanese do, they make everything efficient. So they made it so it's, just more efficient. So what does that mean? Well, we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? But so we have four. Not bad, right? It's the same. But then when we do 5, this is 5, but on the Japanese abacus, this is 5. Well, that's fine. That's fine. But in the Chinese abacus, now it gets a little redundant. So when it gets a little redundant, this is 5 or this is 5. It doesn't, it's the same. But now, if you look, we have 6 is the same, right? 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, and then there's 10. Well, funny, 10 is either this because there's a 5 and a 5, right? Or there's 10, or this is 10. Now, the reason why I actually don't like the Chinese abacus the way it works, because now we're talking about place value and it's just thrown out the window. Because if I do 10, why is this 10? Because I don't have, this is not a place value. Doesn't make sense. So to me, logically, it doesn't make sense to have this as a 10 or this as a 10. And then I get easily confused. I'm just letting you know. I get easily confused. If I've got to figure out 3 ways to do 10, then you know what? Screw it. I don't care. But in the Chinese abacus, right, you can use this. In the Chinese abacus, you could use just the middle ones and just work it like it would in the Japanese one. So, in the kindergarten, what I would do is I would have them start understanding how to do the plus and the minus. It works as a physical number. Yes, exactly. It works as a physical number. So just as we do here, right, this would be 1 and 0, right? So now we're at the place value. Just like how we write 10, tens and ones, this would be 10 and 1. It could be here too. So if I'm teaching, when I'm teaching children, I would just use this one. But because I'm talking to adults, you could use whatever. You could be flexible, right? But here for children, I would say 1 and 0 is my 10. And then I would count 11, 12, 13, 14, and then 15. So what was kind of cool about the abacus is they can actually, when the kids start understanding that this is 9 and this will always be 9, they will know that this will be 90, right? And then they can start counting on, because I know that's a kindergarten skill, right? A kindergarten skill is to count on. So in abacus, we actually start doing counting on early because we do 5 and then 6 and then 7 and then 8, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9. So when we talk about it, counting on is easy. I never taught abacus, but I wondered, yeah, having this will really lay the groundwork if you could. If you want to start it, I would recommend it, not because it's It's the greatest thing next to sliced bread because you can see it. So let's say we tell the kids, okay, let me know what 36 is. Well, what's after 36? Because they know what 6 looks like, they can tell you that it's 37. And then they can say it's 38. So you can use this really, and that's what it is. It's a counting tool. So they can see it. They can physically see it and they can physically move it. Whereas if you had the number chart, right, there's the number chart, it's kind of like, it's still a very two-dimensional. Whereas on the abacus, it is three-dimensional. So I'm not knocking it, but I'm not knocking the other manipulatives, right? We have other manipulatives. We have these ones, right? These are all the ones and these are all the tens. And it's kind of the same thing, but in abacus we don't do quantity, right? We do place value, just as we talk about where the ones is and where the tens is. So I'm not sure in kindergarten if you talk about place values. But then it's interesting because you're going to start doing adding and subtracting. So in this book is what I did here was I showed how to make a 10, or not how to make a 10. I show how the abacus relates to the numbers, and we just go through it. And then there's activities to go, and I was trying to make it entertaining because in other abacus books, if I can find my other abacus book, it's really quite boring, and so. And it gets kind of monotonous. It kind of gets like mind numbing. So this is a regular abacus book, right? And what I was trying to do is I was trying to make it more interactive. Oh my God, what's going on with my camera? So I was trying to make it more interactive. It is less confusing. It is less confusing because you could see it. You could see it move. So even like we have 9 and then we have 10. So they would know that this is 1 and 0. So we keep going. There's the adding, subtracting, moving forward, moving backwards. Okay, not a problem. So now, after towards the end, we start doing adding and subtracting. Now, one thing about adding and subtracting is, I know in primary school we start to focus on the result. But on abacus, we focus on the process. So what does that mean? We look at the second add-in, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show what the 1 looks like. So here, this is 0, and then this is 1. So I have 0, and I want to add 1. The idea is to add the 1 bead. Add the 1 bead. That's what this means. The beads have to touch the abacus, the horizontal bar. If it doesn't, then it's not counted. That's what it is. It's either there or not. It's a yes or a no. Is it touching the beam or is it touching the horizontal bar? No, yes, whatever, right? So that's the one thing. So then the next question here is, we know what this number is. This number is 7 because it's 5, 6, 7. So then what we're going to do is we're going to add the 1. So the reason why I have it as a picture is so then they can translate between the picture and the abacus. So this is my 7 and I want to add the 1. So I'm going to add the 1 just like that. So my answer is 8. If they don't know what the number 8 is, they can count it out. 5, 6, 7, 8. So here we start talking about doing the add-ins. We only worry about the add-ins. The reason why is because as we get further along, it's easier to add. Why? Well, one of the stories that I like to tell the most is I'm doing research about how to teach children how to add and subtract. Now, the reason why, I have 3 boys and they all went through abacus and I didn't have to teach them anything, right? I gave it to another teacher to teach. And I was like, okay, whatever. So in school, I noticed that they start to focus in on the result. So here's one of the questions that they had. It was 5 plus 3. We know 5 plus 3 is 8. Yeah, but they were really focused on this. And it's fine, but it's not fine. Why? Because in abacus, we don't focus on the result. Because the way you get to, it's just like a goal, right? Everybody gets to the goal, but it depends on how you get there. So it's like life. So we have 5, and then the question is, do I have enough beads to add the 3? Yes, I have enough beads to add the 3, so I'm going to add the 3. Okay, not a problem, but my answer is 8. The next question in the same video was 1 plus 7, and they're like, oh yeah, 1 plus 7 is 8. Yeah, that's how you make an 8. And I'm like, okay. So on the abacus, we have 7. And then plus the 1, right? We plus the 1 and that's 8. Not a problem. Again, the same goal. But then it gets it gets a little bit like now I'm going on a rant. Why? Because the next question, and we all know this one, learning our doubles, which I came across and I was thinking about it. We learn our doubles. We memorize our doubles, and then there's doubles plus one. Doubles plus one. This is what you do, right? And it's like, okay, you know what? This is it. I'm throwing it out the window because in Abacus we don't learn our doubles, right? What do we learn? What we learn in school is how to make a 5. Here's my 5. How do I make a 5? I know 4 plus 1 is equal to 5. I know 1 plus 4 is equal to 5. But that's as far as it goes. And that's like, okay. But you know what? I'm going to see you and take it one notch up. What does that mean? Well, now we have this thing and we're going to use it as a little, I don't know if you want to say weapon. They're a little young. But what we're going to do is we're going to isolate the variable. We're going to take this 4 and we're going to make it into something. What does that mean? This 4 will be similar to this 4, but we have this ingredients, we have this information, and we're going to twist it a little bit. We're going to manipulate it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 1, I'm going to put it on the other side of the 5, right? Other side of the equation, other side of the equal sign. So when I rewrite it, it'll be 4 is equal to 5 minus 1, right? Because we're going to just simple math, right? This is kind of like algebra, right? We're isolating the variable. So what we're going to do, I have my 4. Right? We know we don't have any more beats to add the 4, but I know a secret. And the secret is to plus the 5 minus the 1. So all I got to do is plus the 5 minus the 1. And there's my answer, 8. That's it. That's my secret. Now, when I'm teaching the children, what I teach the children, I only tell them this. I love this. I'm close up. I'm so glad I found this video. Yes, I'm so happy you did too. I truly think that it's the greatest thing next to sliced bread. So now, okay, we know the secret, right? We know the secret. What happens when we do 3 plus 4? Same thing. So now instead of doing doubles minus 1, what we're going to do is we're going to do 3, right? And my secret, which is plus 4. Plus 4 is plus the 5 minus the 1. Do you see that there's a number, a pattern right there? This is the pattern. And the kids will see it. But the thing is you got to go through. Hey, Ethan, you're awake. You're awake. So this is the little secret, right? If you see that there's a number pattern. We talk about number patterns all the time in school, but we never see it in real life, which is really quite interesting. And it's like, oh my God. So obviously the answer is 7. But it was like, oh my God. When I did it, oh, go get ready for school. Fantastic. So when I learned it, I didn't learn Abacus when I was a child. Just so you know. I didn't learn Abacus. I learned it as an adult, and then I taught it to my children. And it was just one of those things like I was actually forced to learn Abacus because my dad wanted to do a side business. And he's like, oh, I'm going to do a side business. I want to teach the kids. But he never taught the kids. He told me and my brother to learn. So and I was like, why are we learning this? But as I learned it, I was like, I wished I knew Abacus when I was a kid. Because then it would not, we wouldn't have to memorize strategies. We wouldn't have to memorize all these like doubles plus 1, doubles minus 2, doubles minus plus 1, and so forth. And then here's a question. If we learn our doubles plus 1, what happens when we do a takeaway? Hey, Green Pill. I wish it was implemented in American schools. You know, that's what my goal is. My goal is to educate everybody in America. It was just funny. Because I'm in California. And I know that when you do research on YouTube, there's a lot of like different words that we use that we don't use in Abacus. So in Abacus, we don't use the words. Japan still has Abacus classes. Yes, Japan does have. Japan, India, Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, China, they all have Abacus classes. But I noticed in America, like mainstream math, the Western side of the world, we don't know. There's a couple of people in France that's actually utilizing my book. This is the book that I have, and they're utilizing it. But it's interesting. Why? Because in Abacus, we don't use the terminologies like isolating the variable or substitution. We just do it. And so what I wanted to do, thank you so much for sharing my life. I have 3 minutes. Do I have 3 minutes? I have 3 minutes. Okay. So, and I will be back again. I don't know why American gets rid of things. Yeah, yeah, but they still keep the imperial system, which is strange. We still work in ounces and pounds, and why don't we go into like grams and kilograms? It's so much easier. So, yeah, right? Oh my gosh. I mean, it. Yeah. So that's my goal. And funny in when I say that I'm an abacus teacher, some people are like, I don't know what that is, and other people would be like, I don't even know how to pronounce that. I'm a little scared. So silly, it's silly. Yeah, right. It's so silly. But my goal is to, and that's why I'm really enjoying the conversations that we have on TikTok, just because I can talk to people. Whereas, if I did it on like Instagram or any other place, it's a lot of just looking and I can't get the feedback that I want. But what I was trying to do was I was trying to relate like all of the vocabulary that we use. So we use this thing called number sentences, and I'm like, what's a number sentence? So then I'm like, oh, this is a number sentence. These would be siblings. Sentence siblings. So I'm trying to go through, and that's why I'm actually trying to pick people's teachers' brains on trying to figure out what these are. And so we use these words. Oh, thank you so much, Green Pill. Thank you so much. I am a great teacher. I wish I had you in school. My kids. Where can I find the book? I have it on Amazon. You can find my name, Lynette Young. If I wrote my name, I've had my name somewhere. Let me see my name. My name. You can find my book here on Amazon, or try the TikTok shop, but I can't promise you, because I'm still trying to figure out the whole TikTok shop. I'm still kind of new on that. John, do I have a book for recommending for adult learners? Not yet. Actually, I am planning on trying to figure out how to do an adult abacus workbook. There are those that are out there that's kind of boring, and it kind of looks like this. You could do that, but that's as far as it goes. But I'm actually in the process of outlining a abacus book for adults, and I was going to do it in the different grades too. It'd be like first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, because we go to division and decimals, and then that's, I think, as far as it goes. And then there'd be adults, and it wouldn't be as cutesy as this, right? It wouldn't be heavily on this. I want the preschool one for myself. Yeah. So before I leave, the preschool one goes B recognition, number recognition, and then it goes into adding and subtracting, only simple. Then the next book would be the making of the five. So after you finish this, after you understand how to just add and subtract, the reason why I would say do these, because these are still the simplest. What's the highest grade in abacus? You can go, well, you can go to level 10. You could go to the highest level is level 10, and you can have like a big bunch of numbers, like 20 numbers by 20 digits. You could do as that. But really what it is just more numbers. And does it matter? I don't think it really matters. So going back to here, after the preschool one, you would learn how to make a 5, and then after you make a 5, you have to take away the 5, and after you take away the 5, you have to learn how to make a 10. After you learn how to make a 10, then we can go into multiplication, division. So there's like a whole series, but I'm still building it out. The reason why it's taking some time is because it's quite interactive. So this is a maze, right? You have to answer the question, but these are all very specific abacus questions, right? It's not just the regular, like, it's not just regular put a bunch of numbers together. These are very specific abacus questions. So I wanted to make sure that it made sense for the children. So then when we're doing it, 3 plus 3 is not the doubles, right? 3, 3, when I add the 3, I don't have enough to add the 3, so I have to plus the 5 minus the 2, and then add another 3, add another 1, so my answer is 7. So then here, because I have my answer is 7, I would follow the path. And so I've tried to make it a little bit interactive. Yeah, definitely look it up. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm so happy I came on board just to talk a little bit. But yeah, thank you for the hearts. Thank you so much for the likes and the hearts and everything. But yeah, let me know when you have more questions. Like if you ever get stuck on a question on the abacus, like how would you teach it? So again, I wouldn't teach the kids isolate the variable. I would just say, this is what you need to memorize. So here was the way I have it here, right? I would have them memorize this. I wouldn't say isolate the variable. I would say this is what you need to memorize and that's how you go. So this one here, the way I did it, because I'm thinking that the kids would be small, I would tell them, okay, I want to do a 2 and then I want to plus the 4. Is there enough to plus the 4? No. Go to the cats in the tree. There's 5 cats in the tree. There's 5 cats in the tree. Grab 4 cats, right? I go to the cats in the tree. I add the 5. I grab 4 cats and 1 cat runs away. So 1 cat runs away. And so then my answer is 6. So I was trying to make it more interactive. I mean, my thought when I first started doing this, it was I wanted to start the kids from preschool and then carry it on to adding subtraction for that path. And then when I got more traction, I was going to do the other ones. So thank you so much for following my life. Thank you for following me. But yeah. So, I mean, if you look at all my posts, it's all about Abacus and how it's the greatest thing next to sliced bread. Because I do believe it. And I've been teaching Abacus for more than 20 years. My 3 boys, I have 3 boys, and they all know Abacus. Do they like it? No, they don't like it. But it is what it is, right? But I do see that there is some... they have some confidence. And I noticed that when my kids went into algebra, they're like... I know this, but I don't know why I know this. And it's because we do a lot of algebraic things in Abacus, but we don't label it. Just like we don't say substitution, we don't say inverse and isolate the variable. All right, so I have to get ready for class. I have a student, and he is 7, and I was just going over what my new book for first graders. And so what I was going to do is I'm going to do something like that. And so he's actually starting to do subtraction now. And it'll be exciting. So I do plan coming on later on today. And I hope to see everybody again. I hope to see you in my future lives. But yeah, I go live quite often because I do enjoy the interaction. Because I am a little bit siloed. Nobody else really talks about Abacus like I do. So I do enjoy being able to talk to people about Abacus and being creative about it. So, and it's been interesting, like going down this path, there was a lot of epiphanies that I was talking about. Oh yeah, like learning our doubles. One of the things before I keep going, one of the things was we learn our doubles. You know what? Our doubles is going forward. What about going backwards? We don't have minus doubles, do we? Right? Your follower, right? We have doubles, 4 plus 4, that's a double. What happens if it's a negative? We don't do negatives. In Abacus, we do negative. We do plus 4. We do minus 4 is equal to minus 5 plus 1. There's the inverse. We do the inverse. But in the doubles, in that strategy, we don't do doubles negative, which is interesting. So be careful with the strategies you use. But yeah, that's why we don't do doubles. But we do the inverse. So, all right. If anybody has no more questions, anybody have any quick questions, I'm going to head out because I do have a class. But I will be on later, and I hope to see everybody on. And we can talk more about adding and subtracting and multiplication, division. We can go all the way to division. Woo! Hey, Leanne. Hi, Leanne. I'm about to leave. I got a class to go to. Yeah, I have a class to go to. And have fun. No, thank you so much. I hope it was okay for you, Seraphel. Bye, Ethan. He followed me this morning to my YouTube lives. I'm actually going to post all my TikToks onto YouTube. I'm going to see how much traction I'm going to get on that. Because I've been going live on TikTok for a while now. And I'm kind of like, wow. I mean, it's different, but it's still the same. But it's different. Anyways. Thank you again for everybody. Thank you. I'm sorry. I talk a lot. Thank you again, everybody. I appreciate everybody that's here and talking about it. And Ray, I hope that we can talk more about Abacus and how you can introduce it to your students. Because I do think it's the greatest thing next to sliced bread. I truly believe it. Seraphel, if you have any questions, I hope to see you in my upcoming lives. And I'll see everybody later. Bye.